Have you ever felt like the only way to have peace in your life is to slowly disappear from people? You stop replying as fast, you avoid certain conversations, you distance yourself, not because you hate them, but because something inside you feels tired. And then comes the guilt. Because you don't actually want to cut people off. You still care about them, you still want connection, you just don't want the stress that comes with it. So you end up stuck in this strange place where you want peace, but you also want people. And it starts to feel like you can't have both. Most people grow up believing something very simple, but very limiting. Either you tolerate everything to keep relationships, or you walk away completely to protect yourself. There's no middle ground. So when someone starts affecting your mental peace, your mind goes into extremes. You either try harder, give more, explain more, adjust more, or you slowly shut down and pull away. But both of these come from the same problem. You were never taught how to protect your peace while staying connected. So your brain assumes that peace requires distance, that the only way to feel calm is to reduce people in your life. But that's not actually true. Peace is not about removing people, it's about changing how your mind interacts with them. And once you understand that, everything starts to shift. Your mind is always trying to avoid discomfort. So when someone drains your energy, your brain labels them as the problem. It tells you, maybe I just need fewer people. Maybe relationships are the issue. Maybe I should just stay alone. But what your brain doesn't realize is this. It's not always the people that disturb your peace. It's the patterns you unconsciously follow with them. Saying yes when you want to say no, explaining yourself too much, expecting others to understand you without saying anything, taking things personally that were never about you. These patterns slowly build pressure inside your mind. And over time, even normal interactions start to feel overwhelming. So instead of fixing the pattern, your brain tries to escape the situation. That's why cutting people off feels like the only solution. But here's the deeper truth. You don't need fewer people. You need healthier patterns with the same people. And that's where everything changes. One of the biggest reasons people feel mentally drained is because they explain themselves too much. You say something simple like, I can't come today. But then your mind starts adding pressure. What if they think I'm rude? What if they misunderstand? So you add more words, more reasons, more justifications. And suddenly a simple sentence turns into a long explanation. But the more you explain, the more you feel like you have to defend yourself. Because over-explaining doesn't come from clarity, it comes from the fear of being judged. And that fear slowly drains your peace. Peace begins when you become okay with being misunderstood sometimes. Not everyone needs a full explanation of your decisions. And when you accept that, something inside you relaxes. Another thing that quietly steals your peace is the lack of boundaries. Most people think boundaries have to be loud or aggressive, like confronting someone or pushing them away. But real boundaries are actually quiet. They sound like, I'll get back to you later. I'm not available right now. I'd prefer not to talk about this. Simple, clear, calm. Without boundaries, your mind keeps negotiating. Should I say yes? Should I say no? What will they think? And that constant mental noise is exhausting. But when you set even small boundaries, that noise disappears because the decision is already made, and suddenly your energy feels protected. Another powerful shift happens when you stop taking everything personally. Your mind naturally connects everything back to you. If someone is distant, you think it's because of you. If someone reacts badly, you think you did something wrong. But most of the time, people are reacting to their own internal state. Someone might be stressed, overwhelmed, insecure, distracted, but your brain doesn't see that. It creates a story that centers around you, and that story creates emotional weight. When you start reminding yourself that not everything is about you, something changes. You stop carrying emotions that were never yours, and that alone protects a huge part of your peace. Another important thing most people ignore is emotional availability. You don't have to be emotionally available all the time, but many people feel like they should be. They reply instantly, they listen even when they're drained, they engage even when they need space. because they don't want to seem distant or rude. But being available all the time slowly exhausts your mind. Peace comes from choosing when to engage, not reacting automatically. You can care about someone and still take space. You can be kind and still protect your energy. Your time and attention are limited, and once you start respecting that, your relationships actually become healthier. There's also this hidden habit that drains people without them realizing it: the need to fix everyone. You see someone struggling and you feel responsible to help. You give advice, you try to solve their problems, you carry their emotional weight. At first, it feels like you're doing something good, but over time it becomes heavy, because you're trying to manage something that isn't yours. This often comes from a deeper need to feel useful or needed, but peace comes from understanding that not everything is yours to fix. Sometimes people need to go through their own experiences, and your role is not to carry them, but to stay balanced yourself. And finally, one of the most important shifts is understanding that peace is not just about being alone. Many people think if they just get enough space, they'll feel calm. But even when you're alone, your thoughts can still be loud. You replay conversations, you overthink situations, you imagine different outcomes. So even without people, there's no real peace. That's because the real noise is not outside, it's inside your mind. And that's where the real work begins. Creating space between you and your thoughts. Instead of reacting to every thought, you start observing them. Instead of analyzing everything, you let some things pass. Because not every thought deserves your attention. And the more space you create inside your mind, the less external situations affect you. The deeper truth is this: you don't lose peace because of people. You lose peace because of unexamined mental patterns. People are just triggers, but the reaction comes from your mind. And when you change how you respond, the same people start to feel different. That's why two people can experience the same situation in completely different ways. One feels drained, the other stays calm. Not because their life is easier, but because their mind works differently. So if there's one thing to understand, it's this: you don't need to disappear to feel peaceful. You don't need to cut everyone off. You just need to change how you show up. Speak a little less, explain a little less, react a little less, observe a little more. Start small. Say no once without overthinking. Take a break without guilt. Let one thing go without reacting. Peace is not something you find somewhere outside. It's something you practice inside your daily life. And over time, that practice becomes your natural state. At that point, you're no longer choosing between people and peace. You're able to have both. Because the goal is not to become distant from everyone. The goal is to become calm even when people are around you. And when you reach that point, you don't feel the need to escape anymore, because nothing feels heavy enough to take your peace away. And that's when your life truly starts to feel different. You don't need a completely new life. You just need a new way of using your mind.